there was no evidence supporting that there was a avalanche. And where they were found, there's been no really history of avalanches happening in that area.
Doesn't mean that there couldn't have been one then.
Damn.
Someone could have caused one.
It's true.
Yeah.
A UFO.
But I mean,
Orgies.
so if anything, so probably the area that they were in, there could have been an avalanche, or they thought there was one. Still frantically panicked, because if you look at some of the photos, you can see that visibility was terrible near the end. Crivoni Shenko's, if you look at the last 2 photos where they're hiking, visibility is shitty. So maybe, they thought or felt something was happening, so they panicked. But then by the time they realized nothing was happening, some of them got way too cold. Then some of them were trying to make it back to the tent to get their supplies. And then Yeti came out and ripped out the tongue and eyes of the woman, saying, "These are pretty eyes. I like them."
I like that.
But then again, though, in one of the pictures, I see a dog. I don't know if this dog went on the expedition with them, but they didn't say that it looked like any animal really ate the eyes and tongue.
A lot of mystery surrounding this. So what's yours, Anna?
So one that I kind of liked about this one is the infrasound theory. Did you guys dig into that at all?
The which one?
No.
Infrasound?
No, I did not hear about that.
So this is a natural forming phenomenon. Where...
Phenomenon.
So it's a low-frequency sound that forms when winds create vortexes. In a nutshell, that's what it is. They create mini tornadoes. And the sounds are so low. They've done tests that... So infrasound is below 20 hertz. And that's lower than we could perceive. But just because we can't hear it with our ear doesn't mean it doesn't affect us. You could be affected by a vibe of somebody without saying anything. This vibe is down on that 20 hertz level, super low. So in some people, when they hear this low frequency, it actually can induce the feelings of fear or dread and depression. People act irrationally whenever they hear this sound. So maybe that could have led them to they heard it. It was overwhelming because it was some sort of test that Russia was testing a attack technique using infrared technology, infrasound technology. And it was unfortunate that they were actually there. They weren't meant to die, but it just happened.
It's funny you mention that because about a year or so ago, I was diving in the deep dark web and I came across this topic, and somebody posted military records that provided proof that they were doing military exercises and certain secret weapon bombings and secret weapon testing in the area. And that is what killed these hikers. And it showed dates and stuff like that. And I could not, for the life of me, I dug and dug and dug and dug and dug. And it was nuked off the internet. I could not find it. But I know for a fact I saw them with my eyes. Weird you mentioned that.
I feel like I heard it on another podcast as one of the theories, and it sounded really appealing to me. Yeah, so I was looking at trying to figure out what it could do to people. And in humans, it can cause headaches, nausea, night terrors, sleep disorders. The lower you get with the frequency, the more it does. So if it hits that right frequency, it can resonate with the human eye, and it causes them to vibrate. So this can lead to disorienting vision and the possibility of seeing ghost sightings, like figures moving. So it may also cause somebody to feel that there is an entity in the room with them. They also feel that dread feeling. So if they were, let's say they did see a Yeti, and then coincidentally on this same trip, this infrasound technology was being used, now they have in their head, the Yeti's coming. They have in their head a rational fear of this Yeti coming to get them because of this technology.
Maybe it was that government having someone dressed up as a Yeti to test the reaction of that device, and then their reaction to seeing an animal or some unknown creature.
You can't test something unless the participants cannot be aware of the experiment. So it's unfortunate that it would have to be leading to death, but that's kind of how things go.
Yep.
Proper results. Well, when they were doing these studies to figure out if people kind of possibly saw ghosts and fears like that, they said all they had to use was a low frequency fan or like a vibrating fan, and they got it down to 18.98 hertz. And that resonated with the frequency of the human eye that made it vibrate. And it also created a standing wave in one area of the room, which made foil vibrate in the room. So showing that it really was affecting the physical world with the sound.
Sound is going to be the new technology that they're going to use to make planes go.
Whenever they turned off this fan, though, the people inside said there was a huge weight lifted off of them. And the vibrations that you get from this frequency will cause optical illusions, depressed feelings, like I said. People felt like the laboratory was haunted after this experience because of what they felt when they were in this. So let's say that we have these people now going out into the wilderness is always going to give you a little eerie feeling because it's the unknown. You can assume that there's going to be at least some sort of predator animal out there where you still have a sense of, like, a little fear. You can't lie. You've got to be a little nervous. So they're out there. Matter of maybe just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Russia tried this technology to use it as a weaponized device, then found out after the fact that there were people in that area, because like you mentioned, it was an area that people don't normally go to. So maybe Russia thought that it was a good place to do a test on how it affects the environment or something. And the hikers just reacted to it irrationally by just leaving their tents without grabbing their clothes, just scurrying. They didn't try to open the door. They just ripped it open. Two ran up a tree. Didn't they have a theory that the guy who hit his head, or the guy who had a small fracture, might have fallen off a slight edge and hit his head?
I heard something like that, yeah.
So him just running in the darkness, trying to get away from the sound. You can't get away from sound. Even though he doesn't know he's running from it, he's just sensing that something's in his area. And maybe it did wear off. Like, they stopped doing the experiment, right? And then the people who didn't die in the first wave walked back up to go get the clothes, realized, like, the tent was all tore up, right? And then they got the clothes because they realized we have to survive out here. And these people are already dead, or maybe they weren't dead yet, but they were nearly there. And so they just took their clothes, and ultimately they would not survive.
That's a good theory.
Thank you.
You did good on that. I'm proud of you.
And I love you.
And I love you. No, but yeah. It's a good. This sound thing is very interesting. I'm gonna have to dig more into that. I've never heard about hertz being below 20 and it causing certain things to happen. It's gonna be interesting to dig into.
This was a long time ago, but I didn't see it this time, but I swore that this thing could damage you from the inside of your body. The infrared sound can damage you on the inside and not show any sign of trauma on the outside.
And that matches up to the three of the hikers.
Yeah.
So, Anna out here solving the case.
Just put me on the job. I got it.
So, I was reading some of the journal or the diary entries. I'm starting to think that they might have had a falling out.
Ooh, tell us, Danielson.
Uh-oh. 90-day fiance drama.
So on one of the nights, or I think it was January 30th, supposedly their tent had a bunch of holes and stuff in it. In the journal entry, it doesn't say anything about how the holes happened, but the one unknown diary on this site was Dubinina and Thibault Bernal got into a heated argument about, I guess, who was going to sew up the tent to fix the holes. Because during these expeditions, you don't sit by the fire until all your work is done. And I guess Thibault was supposed to do some of the sewing up, but he decided not to and sit down. And Dubinina was jumping on his case and everything. Then finally, Thibault just said, F it, I'm going to go do it. And a couple of them went and fixed the holes up. But Dubinina didn't say anything and just went straight into the tent. Then supposedly two of them, two that were mostly clothed during the night, end up